You read that it fell. Ignore my glitter packaging. I come packing, crafting.
Hello, my wicked vipers, and thank you so much for joining me here on SewStitchHex. I'm Macadamia, and today we're going to be talking about how I get my glasses on my face. We're going to be talking about Volume 5 of Mieruko-chan, and I love this so much. This is crazy. Okay, so this episode shows us how Hana is basically Daphne from Scooby-Doo, because she is oblivious and always getting her shit into trouble. Here we go at the beginning. I did not write my pages down, so I have to mark them. We see her wading through the water because this boy, he has this whole incident where we see like a little tiny flashback where he's been visiting a friend in the hospital and the friend does not make it. And he has this little note from that friend that says, "You're okay." And it seems like that might have been like one of his only friends because he didn't have any at school. And when they pass away, this blows away, and he was really upset. So Hana goes into the water after it, but her aura is so massive that, you know, as it did before, it's drawing in all these dark creatures. And so they're coming after her, and inevitably she's in the water, and the current gets stronger, but it's really just this creature trying to get her. And so we see that weird guy with the top hat again, whose name is Ram. We see him showing up. He comes up and he's using these like spiritually infused rocks and pebbles and shit and all kinds of papers so that he can help save her. And like he does all this. Oh, here's the really sad thing I was talking about, where his friend passed away. But so Ram has to end up saving her, and he just keeps popping up. So like we do again get to see that Ram does have some spiritual powers, and it's supposed to be understood like there is something there of value, and clearly he's going to be a stronger character just because he has this strained and unknown yet relationship with the godmother, which I'm sure they'll cover later. I want to know what happened. How did they know each other? Did she take him on as a student? Did he come to her? Or what happened? And so we move forward in the story, and it's just a lot of things with Hana, her being like injured, kind of her feeling bad. She starts to feel really sick, and I think it's from all the excess energy. And just like always, she eats to recoup. And Mieruko has some pretty nasty visions of what those creatures could do to her, which start to get a little hentai-ish and makes me a little nervous. But overall, she basically just eats a ton, and this flu from the water or the spiritual sickness from low energy, as soon as she's eating, it just explodes and she becomes, you know, powerful again. Essentially warding off all these creatures that she can't even see. Like this big mouth bass over here. Kind of looks like Baba Yaga from Spirited Away. Almost. But like, not as big a nose. You see it? I see it. So Mieruko-chan's still taking responsibility for the whole issue with Hana. Like, I should have brought it with... No, I don't know if it would actually work. It might even make things worse. Talking about the stone that was given to her by the creepy guy, which is Ron. And she's like, anyway, gotta keep Hana's aura from going out. And so she's just shoving food in her face. Living the dream. Living the dream. Babes shoving food in her face. And then Miss Lolita over here is... That's what her hair reminds me of. Is like there's no changes in her aura. She keeps checking over her, and she's trying to get, like, she's still in her, like, manic, like, delusional phase where she's thinking that this is some kind of test. She thinks everything Mieruko-chan does is a test, and she's always thinking it's something. Even in, like the last book, we see her thinking it's all a competition, thinking she has to do this, this, and this. And it's like, these are their innate abilities. There's a difference between trained skill and innate power. And you can't really correlate the two because they're different types of power. One takes technique and understanding, and one just kind of happens. And it's a happy accident that it works out. So while fighting with sick Hana, we get that super terrifying monster and the Shrine Maidens. And we have Mieruko-chan further going into guilt, not knowing what to do with this, ordering more and more food to make the energy powerful enough to scare her off. So she is kind of fighting back, being that magical girl that I wanted all along. But it's kind of using Hana as her weapon. So not only is Hana her driving force, the reason she would make her wish if this were Madoka Magica, but this is also her weapon. So it's her magic wand too, because she's like, her energy's so powerful that even though Mieruko-chan can see them, Hana attracts them, but she can also just like burn them to a crisp. So she's just kind of using that to her abilities. So when they leave, they're speaking in Japanese, I guess. I assume this would be like ancient language, like not modern. That's why I assume that they never translate it, because they never translated it in any of the books. But as it leaves, we see her deep in thought, and we see her very stressed out. It's like we know that she feels very guilty about this, because she's the one they went up to this shrine. She can see the creatures, so she can respond to them. If she couldn't see them, if she couldn't respond to them, maybe didn't give it away, maybe had a better poker face, she thinks that this would prevent Hana from being a target, which is not the case. She would still be a target, she just wouldn't have a guardian angel watching her back, because this is her homegirl and she's got her. However, she's going to take all of this onto herself, and this guilt, and she feels like responsible for all of these things that happen to Hana that Hana doesn't even know are happening, which is kind of funny, but in a terrible way. They were obviously trying to go after Hana. Is that because she went to the shrine with me? Even that big one was there. At least it disappeared right away. But I can't just ignore this. First, I need to talk to Mitsu-san again. And so basically, she's like, okay, I'm going to go find the godmother. I'm going to ask her about this. And she tries to go talk to the godmother, but the godmother is MIA. We see her being super sad because she gets to see one of her old friends. She goes up back home to visit one of her old friends, or she was visiting. I can't remember. Either way, she leaves, she has like a special gift, and when she comes back, she finds out her neighbor had died, and he's a ghost, and he tells her. And I just find it really sad, because it's just like, when you're a medium and you see someone you know, and you think, oh, hey, like, hey, Mr. Parker, hey, Mr. Parker, and then you walk in and you're like, oh, shit, you're a ghost. Fuck, I'm so sorry, dude. Like, what do you say to that? Like, I feel bad, like, are you just taking a break before you pass on, or do you got problems you need to work on? Like, what can I do? How can I help you? What cup of sugar can I metaphorically let you borrow? You know? But it's kind of feels very emotional. And then we know there's a lot of stressors with Rom, because we know that there's some kind of deep issue here where he's done something that's caused this rift in their relationship. And even though we don't know what the relationship is per se, we know that he's like the student or whatever, but like I don't know how this all came to be. So we have all this stressful situation with the guilt that Mieruko-chan is feeling. We have all of the feeling of responsibility from Mitsu, or the godmother, which I feel like is paralleled in Mieruko-chan. So I feel like that is like her future, but to be a more powerful, kind of surpassing the master kind of a thing, when she almost like she's following in the footsteps of the godmother. And so there's like that whole idea, and maybe she would go a different way than Rom, because he's got like some dark skeeviness going on. Like he takes them on a ghost tour. He takes people on a ghost tour, which our little Lolita goes on. And on this little Lolita trip, she's thinking like, this is stupid. There's nothing over here. Nobody feels anything. They're all just reacting like these bunch of posers. And it's like, yeah, you're going to get that when you go on a ghost tour. Like that's how that works. But she actually, remember, can't see the extremely powerful ghost. And so when encountering this thing, she doesn't even see it. And it nearly causes her to be yeeted off of this rickety ass bridge that is definitely not up to code. And Rom has to not only save her, but gives her more stones so that she can like handle it. And he himself throws stones down to handle it. So we see he does have some sort of powers because he's able to handle this creature that is a spiritual being, which is higher up in spiritual power than some of our lower level characters can see, but high enough that we know that Mieruko-chan will be able to see it. So he's able to kind of take care of the smaller ones and some of the bigger ones, which really shows us that he is a powerful guy. It also shows us that he has a very, like, showy personality. Like, he doesn't have to do the whole fireman carry thing. Like, he doesn't have to be the token hero. He could just be like, yo, bro, we're okay. Like, I get it. He wants to get her away from the spirits and be safe. But it doesn't have to be this whole thing. I feel like he's just doing everything for show, everything to get attention, to get the word out there, and to get the people who are in the know knowing about him. And then we see him with like this moment with this like kind of creepy scheming eye where he sees the shrine maidens. And like, I feel like he knows something that we don't know. Or like, this is like a grainy picture. Like it was maybe like a flashback or like a flash forward or something. I don't know. But we want to see that. Like, he's showing a lot of the signs that he's similar to Mieruko-chan and like the way his abilities work. And we even see him kind of ignoring this creature because he's already handled it. And it's just like this whole thing. I don't know. I felt like this issue had a lot of jumping around, but it gave us a lot of build-up. Something is about to happen. Like, this is the building up to a climax, to something. Because Mieruko feels like she needs to do something, and she doesn't necessarily know what to do. She feels helpless, and she feels like there's no one she can go to because the godmother was out of town. She's talking to that weird guy, and she doesn't want to talk to him. She's like, you know about that shrine? What do you mean, precarious situation? Now. Didn't Mitsu-san explain things to you? If you'd like, I'd be more than happy to give you some advice. I'm getting like Dr. Facilier vibes. I don't know. But so I feel like he's planning something. I don't know what it is. But he just shows up, starts walking her ass to the mountain, which the godmother told her not to go near, not to get anywhere towards, and there she goes. And then boom, the godmother pops up. Like, the fuck is you doing, bruh? I gave you very basic ass instructions. Don't touch that one thing. And what did you do? But this whole situation kind of leads you up. Because you see, Mieruko-chan is she's very, like, determined. She wants to protect Hana. She wants to take responsibility, even though she's not responsible. But then you have the godmother trying to protect her. You have Rom and whatever his ulterior motives are. And it's just this big old mess. And you really want to know where it's going and what's happening. But it just kind of ends up being a whole bunch of stubborn people, a stubborn old lady, a stubborn down one generation, and a stubborn down one more generation. Like, we got a lot of kids here. There's just a lot going on. It's a lot of build up and a lot of emotions and a lot of responsibility and people feeling like it's their task to do. So we have a lot of people giving I'm the hero of this story vibes, but we know there can be either one group or unit that is the purveyor, so you can't have multiple heroes. And then you got whatever Rom's doing, which feels very And then we have this cute little picture with the cat and the guy. I like him. Because he shows up and it's like, he's a real one coming up to represent. He sees like a creepy dude talking to her and she looks uncomfortable. He's like, You bothering my student? A shabby man in black clothes and a black hat carrying a rectangular backpack. An individual of that description was spotted near our campus. Sound like someone you know? But he certainly sounds shady. What a fright. Says the shady, creepy guy. Hanging out near campus. It's like you're a grown-ass man hanging out near school. Like, I get there's a bunch of spiritual stuff going on, but, like, put some forethought in there. You're a creepy-ass old man. Like, you're old. It doesn't matter if you're 30. If you're 30, if you're 25, if you're hanging out around a school, you're an old man hanging out around children. Like, think about that. And so he's like, are you okay? And then it ends up scaring the guy off because he's, like, creepy. And then she's like, yay, we got this worked out. Like, we got safe. Like, yes. Which is really good because, like, you were super worried about her, right? Like, you see in the situation, you're like, the fuck's going on? And so I really like that the teacher would stand up for a student like that, like a little side over here. Like, I like that. That's good. That's good for his character, which we know we've already cleared his character. He's golden. It was his deceased madre that was a bitch. But it's really cute to see that. I did fail to read the back of the book, so I'm going to do that now. Creepy shrine maidens, shady dudes in top hats, ghosts, monsters. What do these three things have in common? They're all becoming weirdly normal in Miko's otherwise ordinary life. After her trip to the magical shrine in another world, Miko and friends must survive river spirits, haunted houses, and home ec. That part about home ec is because the very first thing that happens is she's in home ec and monsters be coming out of the food and shit, and she has to cut onions to make excuses for why she's crying. It's terrible, but also, like, kind of funny in a really messed up way. But, yeah, so this volume was really, really good. It is building. It's building to something, and I can't wait to see what it is. I want to know what's going on with the backstory, what they even plan to do, what's Rom's ulterior motive, what is going on, the relationship between Rom and the godmother. These are things that I need to know, and I really want to see this further development, not with her guilt complex she's got going on, and I really don't want to have her end up getting a survivor's guilt if her friend does get injured. But what I want is to see her overcome this feeling of guilt into a feeling of justice and, like, self-empowerment, and become the true, like, magical girl that we all want to see. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching me and Mieruko-chan Volume 5. I will see you here with Volume 6 next time, and I hope to see you here. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. If you would want to support my channel, please look for links down below. We got 42 Lolita, we got Book of the Month, we got Audible, we got all kinds of crazy stuff. Feel free to check it out. It will help me grow. And that's what we all want, because the more I grow, the better quality, the more often I can post, the more that's going on. So, yeah. Apart from that aside, please let me know down in the comments below what you think about this volume. Any questions you may have, if you have any guesses to the questions I asked, how you're feeling about it, if you've been reading it, or if you've just been listening to me blab about it each time and knowing that I'm going to spoil it anyway, so you might as well just listen to my short version of it, depending on how fast you read. And then don't forget to subscribe, because that helps the most, and it's the freest, easiest thing you can do. Alright, thank you so much, my Wicked Vipers, and I hope to see you here next time on SewStitchHex. Have a wicked evening. Bye!